Ethiopia scores a host of glittering successes over its concluding fiscal year 2014. And the diaspora members say TPLF is organizing a network of lobbyists to misinform the world. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Addis News Hour with the news. I'm Shifarao Lakaw. Thank you for watching us. Now, Ethiopia disclosed that it has scored glittering achievement over its concluding fiscal year, albeit a host of insurmountable challenges. This came here yesterday when the government communication services issued a statement. Briefing the media, State Minister for Communications Kabada Dasisa said the nation will devote each one of the 5 days in the 13th month of Pagumen to themes and their celebrations.
Ethiopia successfully foiled terror attacks during the ending year of 2014. The State Minister for Government Communication Services, Kabada Debisa, underscored that strict measures have been taken on the terrorist TPLF, Shene and Al-Shabaab groups, all of which worked hand in gloves to destabilize Ethiopia.
The terrorist Shene group, aiming to destabilize the western part of the country and disrupt the GERD project, has successfully been wiped out. Above all, Ethiopian triumphed this year with the third round filling of the GERD reservoir. At the same time, the nation commenced producing energy from the dam's second turbine. It was during this eventful year that Ethiopia successfully repulsed the aggression into its sovereign lands by the terrorist Al-Shabaab.
የተጀመረበት እንዲሁም ሶስተኛ ዙር የውሃ ሙሌት በተሳካ ሁኔታ የተጠናቀቀበት ዓመተ ምህረትም ነበር።
The State Minister also underlined that the coming Ethiopian New Year will also be the time to sustain and replicate successes achieved so far.
The 5 days long 13th month of Ethiopia, Pagume, will be celebrated with various themes for each day that are aimed at strengthening peace, democracy, justice and unity. So the first day of Pagume is dedicated to voluntarism, second day to production, the third to peace, fourth day to service and the fifth to unity. Each will be celebrated with an assortment of events.
Desisa also pointed out that the government is committed to safeguard the security of citizens from the TPLF attacks and take defensive measures against the terrorist group.
There is no peace without sacrifice. The Ethiopian government has been demonstrating its unrelenting commitment to peace. However, when push is turned to shove, all acts of overextended patience will only result in Ethiopia paying unnecessary sacrifice. Thus, Ethiopia will safeguard its sovereignty.
The terrorist group, along with Ethiopia's historical enemies, has been trying to dismantle the country, now fighting tooth and nail along the Kobo area in North Wollo zone of Amhara state, while the joint Ethiopian security forces are repulsing the aggression.
Now, Ethiopia's permanent envoy to the UN has called on the international community to condemn TPLF's recruitment and use of children for war. UN international institutions like ICRC on violence against children, UNICEF, the World Health Organization, and other international organizations kept silent while TPLF recruited and used children for war, the ambassador said while expressing dismay. The terrorist group has been consistently using the human wave strategy in which all Tigrans aged 12 and above are forced to join the war. Unlike other parts of the world, this move by the TPLF has so far been conveniently ignored by UN organizations that work on children. However, several prominent individuals and activists have been tweeting about this gruesome development, inquiring the response from international organizations. The Ethiopian envoy, Taye Asqaselase, called on the international community to condemn the recruitment and use of children by the terrorist TPLF. He said that anyone that truly cares about children must condemn this act by the TPLF. Ethiopian ambassador to the US, Sleshi Bekele, stated that TPLF should commit itself to a solution under the leadership of African Union rather than undermining the institution and its mechanisms. Welcome back. Now, after the law enforcement operation in the northern part of Ethiopia, the federal government has declared unilateral ceasefire agreement aiming to deliver humanitarian assistance in the region. But when all eyes were fixed on peace talks with the TPLF, the terrorist group in charge of Tigray resumed hostilities for yet another round, pulling the rug from under the feet of everyone involved. A veteran politician and currently leader of Ethiopia's biggest multi-ethnic opposition party, Birhanu Nega, told ETV that born and raised in violence, the TPLF is the exact opposite of any meaningful give and take. Habtamu Ashagre reports.
Resumption of the war in the Raya front came less than 48 hours after the TPLF published an article entitled Ethiopia, the African Union cannot deliver peace to Tigray. It appears that the purpose of the article was to herald the inevitability of war. The shameless TPLF made claims that the African Union is close to Ethiopian authorities and cannot be a neutral actor. It went further, even accusing the African Union of supporting its fictitious Tigray genocide. A seasoned politician who has had his share of suffering under the TPLF, leader of Izema, Birhanu Nega, said the TPLF has never accepted any peace talks throughout its history. Nega pointed out that the TPLF is always calculating the benefits of engaging in violence.
They have started the war hoping to achieve what they consider is their objective. In this process, thousands and thousands of people have been killed, maimed. And you hope that the TPLF have learned the futility of war with Ethiopia, especially with the aim of dismembering it. They have been working to create fissure within the Ethiopian body politics on the basis of ethnicity, religion, and what have you. And they thought that Ethiopians would fall apart when push comes to shove because they don't trust each other, they don't consider themselves as part of this mosaic that we call Ethiopia. And I think they learned, in my view, hopefully, they learned the hard lesson that when it comes to their country's unity, Ethiopians can come together irrespective of the differences that they have. I think that's what they have showed. They are Ethiopians. There might be issues that needs settlement politically, then they have to drop their weapons and engage in the political process. Now, do I think that they would do so? I don't. I have to be honest. I don't believe that they are ready to do that because I don't believe the TPLF can live in Ethiopia without being at the head of this polity. And there is no possibility that Ethiopians would accept that kind of arrangement. Therefore, I cannot see how that would work. If there is any possibility, fine. But I cannot see it.
According to Nega, the TPLF tirelessly working to dismember the nation not only by launching war but also by financing anti-peace as well as radical elements across the nation. They have been well experienced to create any ethnic, religious as well as other conflicts over the past many years in Ethiopia, the professor underlined.
The route is not to dismember this country or to aim at dismembering this country, not only by directly waging war, but also by financing and arming all kinds of irregular forces in this country whose main objective is to foster ethnic conflict in this country or religious conflict. I mean, they have been doing this for the last, even since the end of this round of conflict, whether it is Shane or other forces that are, running around with guns supplied by the TPLF and other forces that want to dismember this country. It is clear, I hope it is clear to the TPLF that that is not possible.
Birhanu called upon the government to prepare itself to take proper military measures against the TPLF cliques, which is now the enemy of the nation.
The Ethiopian government has to prepare that this is a very belligerent force. This is a force that does not understand what to mean as an equal is with other ethnic groups in this country. This is a force that does not understand what democracy is and what it means to be a citizen of a country. If they are willing to learn, to live as an equal with the rest of Ethiopians, if they are willing to learn in a genuine, honest democratic dispensation, if they are willing to learn to live without stealing public property, using government power, even at the local level, then I don't think there is any Ethiopian who wants to go into war. But it should also be very clear, absolutely clear, that any attempt at a significant conflict by the TPLF, the Ethiopian government must ensure that this is the last time that we are going to fight this war. And it has to make sure that we have the preparation, the wherewithal to make sure that this is the last war and a new political dispensation within Tigray emerges where sane, reasonable Tigrayan patriots will come up with a new politics that is different from the TPLFs that the TPLF have pursued for the last 50 years.
Professor, to make this exclusive interview, my name is Abtamu.
Moving on, members of the Ethiopian diaspora say outmaneuvering the TPLF's hired lobbyists and destroying its clandestine network is the clarion call of the time. Talking to ETV, the diaspora members said exposing the TPLF's brutal smear campaign and fake news is the task at hand. Habtam Ashagri has compiled the following story.
The TPLF has been consistent in its use of vibrant networks promoting distortions. Sitting at the top of these networks are full-time lobbyists working 24/7 to twist realities into barefaced lies and feeding them to the international community. Talking to ETV English, members of the Ethiopian diaspora reaffirms that the TPLF heavily relies on disinformation and deceiving the international community. A renowned Ethiopian activist and a legal expert Alemayehu Gebremariyam said the TPLF is secretly working with some foreign elements serving their agenda of conducting a proxy war against Ethiopia, a fact also elaborates by its colleagues Meron Ahadu.
Well, I have somewhat unorthodox view. I do not believe terrorist TPLF operates by itself. I think terrorist TPLF is a proxy for other countries. In my view, and this is my personal opinion, a proxy for the United States and for Egypt and other countries in the region that are that have inimical interests to Ethiopia. So to that extent, I do not regard the TPLF as an independent entity, but as an instrument of regional powers and perhaps even the superpowers.
Martin Plott and William Davison and so forth are, they speak for the terrorist group, TPLF terrorist group. They're the basically the spokespeople. TPLF, they're the ones that are misinforming actually the international community.
By now, according to the activists, the TPLF's use of child soldier in utter violation of international laws, as well as its brazen acts of starving people and employing tactics of mass mobilization, are too conspicuous to ignore. The activists expressed dismay within the national institutions and the superpowers for not raising the flag in the face of all this.
Recruitment and conscription of child soldiers, which is a crime under the Rome Statute or the International Court of Justice. These people should be identified, apprehended, and brought to justice. But the United States has done absolutely nothing. Yet, on the other hand, the United States is pressuring and forcing the UN Human Rights Commission out of Geneva to conduct this large-scale human rights investigations on in Ethiopia. These are crimes against humanity. These are war crimes. These are things that are absolutely condemned under any law, national law or international law. But they continue to happen in Ethiopia, and so we have a double standard. And that's how the U.S. has been operating over the past 2 years.
Meron, for her part, underlined that creating a network of international enablers group is a critical step to expose the TPLF's machinations on a large scale. Alemayo stresses that the TPLF is a factory that fabricated and disseminated white lies and virulent propaganda with the goal of confusing the international community.
Basically, their lie factory, TPLF, TPLF, the LF would be lie factory. So Tigrayan People's Lie Factory, TPLF. So they're a lie factory. They propagate and manufacture lies and so forth. And they have been rather successful in propagating that on social media and on YouTube and things of that sort. Because they're well organized. And that's one of the things that the other Ethiopian diaspora have not been able to do. They have not been organized enough. But they've used social media very effectively to propagate lies, disinformation.
What we have discovered is that in the 27 years that TPLF was in power, it has built a network of international how can I put it? A network of international enablers.
Alemayo added that the Biden administration failed to condemn human rights violation committed in broad daylight by the TPLF. He pointed out that the West's hypocrisy goes to the extent of applying double standard to the determinant of global justice which it preaches.
Moving on, the ICRC calls upon AU member states to step up collective efforts meant to address the growing challenges forcing migrants across the continent. This call came when the AUC and ICRC held joint high-level policy dialogue here in Addis Ababa on Tuesday on missing, separated and dead migrants while crossing borders. Talking to ETV, Bruce Mokaya, delegation to African Union, ICRC said conflict situation, impact of climate change and livelihood of the people are the major problems for migration. Have a listen to this.
Within the African continent, there are three main factors that have aggravated the issue of migration. On one hand, the conflict situations that a lot of people are moving because of insecurity. Others are moving because of climate change, the impact of climate change on their livelihoods. Other people are moving largely because of economic reasons. They want to explore opportunities and change their lives. That has been the main movement of population within the continent. But traditionally also within the African continent, a lot of people are moving across borders into neighboring countries. And when you look at migration within the African continent, a majority of the people are actually moving within the continent.
Florian von Kenning, Global Advocacy Lead, ICRC, for his part, stated migration as a global problem that causes many people to die.
I think over the last decade or so, we are observing, not only in Africa, but also in other parts of the world, this is really a global issue, that more and more people are dying or going missing while migrating. And there's many reasons for that. It's hard to pin it down to one reason. It's that in many parts of the world, as a general principle, migration flows are on the rise. So including in Africa, more and more people are migrating. So the numbers are going up, and also the proportion of the total population that is migrating is slowly on the rise.
Moving to business stories, a kilogram of Ethiopia's finest coffee has been sold for a staggering $884 at an auction. The winning coffees of the third Ethiopian Cup of Excellence competition on Saturday went under the hammer in the Alliance for Coffee Excellence auction this week. The coffee that scored the highest points at the Cup of Excellence competition received a record-breaking price from a UAE firm. LNK Coffee Trading paid a whopping $884 for a kilogram of coffee. This is the highest price ever recorded for an Ethiopian coffee, said the Cup of Excellence Ethiopian organizers. And naturally processed coffee which was produced by smallholder farmers like Botosa from the Sidama region in southern Ethiopia, ranked top, scoring the highest 90.69 points. In total, the winning coffees, packaged in 30-kilogram boxes containing two 15-kilogram vacuum packaged bags, were sold at a $37.51 average price a pound at the auction. And now let's move to continental news. Spurred by climate change and a harsh summer, the northern African nation of Morocco has taken the initiative to conserve water. The initiative comes after last year's reserves in the dams have gone down by 80%, according to figures from the nation's Ministry of Equipment. Tigist Ernest has compiled the following story. Have a listen to this.
Climate change, a harsh summer, and a drop in rainfall have prompted the authorities to act and have led to a severe drop in water reserves in Morocco. Faced with a reduction of rainfall levels, the authorities decided in July to ban the use of drinking water to irrigate green spaces and wash cars, amongst other measures. The decision is aimed at preventing the uncontrolled use of drinking water.
The decision is very difficult on me because I'm used to resorting to a car wash to get my car clean. But now, despite how busy life already is, I have to clean my car myself from time to time.
Since last year, the reservoirs in the dam have gone by 80%, according to figures from Morocco's Ministry of Equipment.
We, the people, took these decisions positively and tried to pass along the basic piece of information. It is important to conserve water, a basic substance needed in life and something that could become scarce in 10 or 20.
Agriculture accounts for 80% of water consumption in the country, and poor practices like the overexploitation of groundwater have stretched resources thin.
Today, the water reserve situation in Morocco has become worrying, as is the case in neighboring countries due to climate change conditions and the harshness of this summer.
Morocco is aiming to build 100 large dams, 1,000 small dams, and 20 seawater desalination plants by 2030.
The Federal Assembly of the Russian Federation strongly condemned the continued shelling of Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant ZNPP by Ukrainian military units over the past few weeks. In a statement sent to ETV by the Russian embassy, the Federation said missile and artillery attacks are targeting critically important infrastructure of the ZNPP, whose nuclear and physical safety violation could lead to a major catastrophe in the heart of the European continent, according to the embassy. According to the statement, the consequences of Kiev's reckless action in ordering the shelling of the ZNPP could be truly horrifying. The statement also indicated that a number of major nuclear accidents have obviously taught Kiev and its NATO patrons nothing. Russophobic ideology outweighs nuclear safety principles. And finally, a quick recap of the top stories. Ethiopia scores a host of glittering successes over its concluding fiscal year. And the diaspora members say TPLF is organizing a network of lobbyists to misinform the world. And with that, we come to the end of today's news. Thank you for watching us. Bye-bye.